Hey everyone, it's Bricks in College here, and today we're going to be talking about the LEGO Star Wars Bad Batch Attack Shuttle. So before getting into the build, I'll show off the front of the box and then show off the back of the box. And I'm going to be talking about why I decided to buy this, as well as providing a little time lapse of the build. So here you can see the back of the box, and now we're going to open it up and show off the bags on the inside. So I'll also talk about what I feel about this set after having built it. But for now, I'll talk about why I decided to buy this. So the main reason, to be honest, was the minifigures. I thought the minifigures in this set were super cool, and I was worried that many of them were going to remain exclusive to this set. I think getting all of the Bad Batch, except for Omega, in one set is a really great deal. They are really cool looking exclusive clone troopers. And in addition, I thought the set around it looked pretty good as well. So I don't actually have any of the shuttle type sets right now. I don't have any Lambda shuttles, and although I have more nostalgia for them because they're from the original trilogy, which is my favorite part of Star Wars, I don't own any right now, and I don't like the most recent ones LEGO has put out. So I decided to get this instead because I think this is also a great looking shuttle. And to be honest with you, looking at the box art, I know a lot of people were complaining about the blue, but I didn't mind it that much. I also think one of the speeders looks pretty great, and I'll talk about that in the review. But the other speeder I don't mind having either. So let's get on into the review. Okay, so now I have this set built, and I've had it built for a few days. So I'm going to talk about my thoughts about it. Now, this is mainly going to be my thoughts as an adult collector, so I'm not going to be doing an in-depth review of every aspect of this ship. If you would like that, I will post another video with it if people want to see that. But mainly I'm here to just talk about my thoughts on why I bought this and whether I think it was a good purchase overall. So here are all the figures. Like I said, this was a major reason for me getting this set. I'm really happy just to have 5 exclusive clone figures. I guess Hunter's not exclusive anymore, but still having 4, and Hunter only appears in 2 sets, is really cool. So first we have Crosshair. So I think Crosshair looks pretty great. I'm glad they went with the Imperial uniform because it is what we see him in for most of the show. I know some people were disappointed by not getting the Bad Batch uniform, but I think that's okay. I think he looks really cool in this Imperial uniform, and I'm especially impressed by the head. I think the head looks really good, and I'm glad they put the actual crosshair over his eye. And he looks very much like the character from the show. Okay, next up we have Tech. Tech also I think looks great. Personally, I don't mind that the visor doesn't come down for Tech, but it doesn't come down in case you didn't know that. The only thing that bothers me about Tech is his helmet looks a little bit clunky to me when it's on. When it's off, it actually looks great to me. But when it's on, for some reason, it looks like it extends down a little bit too far. But overall, I think this is another great looking figure. I'm really glad they gave him a backpack, and he does have a double-sided face, as you can see here, one with the glasses or goggles and one without them. And he even came with a hairpiece, so you can have him without the helmet at all and just with the hairpiece on. And I think this is also a really cool look. In fact, sometimes I just display Tech with the hairpiece because I think it's another very iconic look for him. All right, next up is Wrecker. Wrecker is interesting because he is also not using the main clone helmet, similar to how Tech wasn't, but he's actually using the Iron Man helmet, or at least that's the mold. This looks a little bit strange to me, but I think that's just because I'm very used to clone helmets. I think overall the printing is done very well, and I really appreciate the printing on the side of his arms on this armor plate thing. I'm also really glad they gave him this armor plate thing because it just makes him look a little bit bigger like he looks in the show. Also, his face, once again, amazing. I think they did a great job with it. I like all the scarring on the side of it because I think it looks very realistic to what we saw in the show. Next up, we have Echo, and this is definitely my favorite character of the bunch. Now, that's probably because I'm biased because I really liked Echo from the Clone Wars. And of course, I would love to have an Echo from the Clone Wars in the sense that he has the blue handprint on his original clone armor. But I think it's just great to get an Echo character anyway. Such a cool character from the Clone Wars. I think the printing here is great. I think he looks really cool. My favorite helmet of the bunch. I think it's just a great look for him. I love this arm printing. I do kind of wish the hand could have been one of those astromech droid things that he uses to get into computers, but I don't mind too much. And overall, just a great looking character. I also think the head really well reflects what Echo looks like in the Bad Batch. That kind of gaunt expression he always has since going through what he went through with the Separatists, I think it's perfectly represented here. And I appreciate the little details like where the Separatists were plugging him in, as well as the little chip thing that's on the back of his head. Overall, a great looking figure. Next we have Hunter. Hunter I also think looks pretty good. The only issue I have with Hunter is the printing on the helmet looks a little bit thin in some places. Not sure if you can see that on the video, but there you can see it doesn't quite reach the edge of the fin here. But that's okay. I think overall, still a great looking figure, and I really like the way he looks without his helmet. I think there's a pretty good look to Hunter. I appreciate the red headband with the little skull on it. He also comes with a hair element. When you put it on, it does cover up the skull, but I'm still just really glad to have it because I think Hunter without the helmet might be a more iconic look to me than with the helmet. Hunter also has a second side for his face, a little bit more angry expression, but when I keep it on display, I typically have him with the hair, with this side of his face on the speeder bike that comes in this set. The final figure is Gonky, the Gonk droid, and maybe you don't consider this a true figure because it's just brick built, but I think it's a really cute addition. I think it looks pretty accurate to the show, aside from the fact that in the show the color is tan, whereas here it's gray, but I don't mind that too much, honestly. I think it's just a cute addition and a fun little thing to have on display. Okay, next up, let's talk about the speeder bikes. So as I said before, one of these speeder bikes I really like, and the other one I'm not as keen on, and you can probably guess already that the one I really like is this green one. I think it's just a really cool color. I think it looks really nice on display. It looks great with a minifigure on it. In fact, the way I display it is I put Hunter in it without his helmet and with his hairpiece on instead. There's Hunter in the speeder bike. I think this just looks really good on display beside the shuttle. It's a very interesting looking speeder and doesn't look like anything else we've gotten from LEGO Star Wars. This speeder bike I'm not quite as keen on, mainly just because it feels really big to me. I think it's supposed to be a bark speeder, but it just feels way too big. I do put Crosshair on this one when I'm displaying it, so you can put Crosshair's weapon up in the clip up here, and then sit Crosshair down in the speeder. So here's Crosshair in the speeder bike. The one thing that I will say that I like better about it than the green speeder, though maybe this is something I'm doing wrong, is you can very easily fit the hands of the minifigure onto the handlebars, whereas the green speeder, I can't seem to do that. I don't know if it's something I'm doing wrong, but it seems like the green speeder's handlebars are a little bit too wide for minifigure hands, so I can't fit them into the handlebars. I can fit one, but I won't be able to fit both. Overall, really happy with this green speeder, and the other speeder, I put it on display, but I don't know how much longer it'll stay on display. Okay, now I've moved everything aside to talk about the star of the show, the Bad Batch Shuttle. So overall, I like the way this shuttle looks. I personally think all shuttles in the Star Wars universe look cool. I have more nostalgia for the Tidarium shuttles, and I hope to get one of them one day. I just wasn't a huge fan of the most recent one LEGO put out. Of course, I'd love to have the UCS one, but I don't have the money or space for that right now. But overall, I think this does a really good job at completing that shuttle look while still being something new for the Star Wars universe. So it looks, in my opinion, best when you fold down the wings and have them like this, and I'm thinking about looking into stands so I can have it displayed like this all the time, because personally I think it looks just way better with the wings folded down. But that being said, it also looks pretty good with the wings folded up, which is how I have it on display now. I personally don't mind the color they went with that much. I know some people were complaining because it's this blue and not the typical gray that you see in the show, but for me, I like this splash of added color, especially with my Star Wars sets, which are mostly grays and darker colors. I like this blue. I think it looks pretty nice, even if it's not perfect to what's seen in the show, but I can understand someone being upset by it not being perfect. The only thing I don't love about the look of this shuttle is the cockpit. I think it looks a little bit different from how it looks in the show. In the show, it kind of flattened out a little bit earlier and was curved a little more the other way. I've seen some mocks online for cockpits that fix that, and I'm thinking about switching to one of those at some point. The final thing that I do enjoy about this shuttle is that you can open it up and fit all of the Bad Batch in here, with the exception of Omega if you get her, or Crosshair if you consider him part of the Bad Batch. But you can fit the other 4 characters. And I like that because I like being able to have my LEGO sets as self-contained items. Of course, I love displaying the minifigures separately, but sometimes when I have too many figures out or too many loose items like weapons, it starts to look a little bit cluttered, and I like to just put them in their vehicles. I have heard a complaint that you can't really pick this up from the fin, which is true because it just opens up. Hopefully that's easy to fix by adding a few more studs on some of these smooth surfaces. And I understand how that's really annoying for kids. And this is, I think, primarily a set targeted towards kids. It looks like one of those sets that's targeted towards play and not towards just displayability. But for me, as someone who does collect these more for displayability, I don't mind that too much, but I can see how someone would be upset by that. So finally, I'll show the shuttle with the figures inside, and I'll show how it closes back up. So here I've put all the figures inside. You do have to do some amount of finagling to get them inside. Unfortunately, Tech does have to sit in the back because he has his backpack and his helmet is very big. And I've found that I can only fit them in when I take off the weapons. I think maybe if I tried really hard, I could get them fit in there with the weapons, or at least most of them holding their weapons. But for now, I just fit them in without the weapons. But as you can see, it closes right back up. So when I want this to be its own self-contained thing, I just do that. Now, actually what I typically do for display is I take Hunter out and I put Hunter on his speeder bike, and then I can put the weapons in the seat that Hunter was taking. I haven't yet found a way to put Gonki in. Maybe there is a way that I just haven't found yet, but for now, Gonki just stays to the side. I would love a way to put him in, but it's just not working out for now. There is also this final piece of storage right here. This box in here comes out, and I find this is a great place to put the hair pieces when they're not in use. So I'll put those back in, and you can see this will just close up, and now the hair pieces are in there, and you can even fit a weapon in this clip here. So those are my overall thoughts. Really, I'm pretty happy that I bought this because I do like the minifigures a lot, and I'm worried that some of them will be exclusive only to this set, so I'm glad that I got them for that. I also think the set looks pretty good on display and will look even better if I make a few minor modifications to it. I think one of the speeder bikes looks great, but both of them are definitely displayable, and I imagine I'll have this on display for at least a bit. I do want to consider getting a stand so that I can display it with the wings folded down because I think that's the way it looks the best. I think this is overall a pretty good set. I'm happy to have bought it. If you like this video, I hope you could give it a like and subscribe if you want to see more like this. Please feel free to comment with any issues you had with this video. If you have any criticism, go ahead and give it to me. This is a new channel, so I'm just looking for ways to improve. Also, if you have any ideas for videos, comment those and I'll try to get around to them. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.